everyone. It's Monday, November 13th, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Andrea Bonner, Chair of Consumer Arts and Sciences, and today I'm joined by Dr. Nicholas Cox, who's the Department Chair for History, and Dr. Cox is going to tell us how to find us on social media.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. And yes, we are live on the Houston Community College District's Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Great. It's Music Monday, and today we're talking about the upcoming Fall Student Music Recital. Dr. Cox is going to interview Dr. Yoojin Lee, who's a professor of music here at HCC. And Yoojin, we'll be back with you in just a little bit. But first, as we come off of Veterans Day, our regular HCC counselor joins us for Mental Health Monday to talk about PTSD, though it's not just a veteran issue. We've got today Morgan Tuck, who's HCC Northwest counselor, and our Mental Health Monday guest. Welcome to the show, Morgan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So let's start with the definition of PTSD. We hear it a lot, it's probably not used correctly, but tell us what PTSD actually stands for.
Absolutely. So PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, a series of events, or a special set of circumstances. Individuals experience this as an emotionally or a physically harmful or life-threatening event. A couple of examples that may cause a person to have PTSD could be natural disasters like hurricanes and floods and that sort of thing, major accidents, terrorist attacks, of course, war or combat, sexual assault, trauma, or intimate partner violence. Most commonly, you hear about PTSD. Back in the day, they used to refer to it as like shell shock or compact fatigue. But it's just really important to understand that this can impact everybody and not just necessarily a veteran or a person who has been in a war sort of environment. It can impact everybody, ethnically, nationally, or at any age.
Great. I actually had PTSD from a dog bite. So I was bitten by a dog last year. So yeah, I can attest to having that. Didn't know I had it at the time. So yeah, and you kind of already talked about the whole shell shock and combat fatigue, what that means, and that it doesn't just happen to veterans. There are a lot of statistics surrounding PTSD. Can you give us a little bit of those?
Yes, absolutely. So about 3.5% of United States adults encounter PTSD every single year. It's an estimate that about 1 in 11 people will be diagnosed with PTSD within their lifetime. Also important to know that women are twice as likely to have PTSD than men. And the primary ethnic groups that typically most impacted by PTSD are Latinos, African Americans, and Native Americans.
Very interesting. So what are some of the symptoms of PTSD? How does someone recognize that they might have it?
Absolutely. So it can definitely look different in everyone, just depending upon the level of trauma, right, for each person. But some general symptoms, PTSD has a very intense, disturbing thoughts and feelings related to that particular incident, even long after the trauma has already happened. They may relive the event or sort of have flashbacks that may cause them to have nightmares, feelings of immense sadness, anger, or even fear. Sometimes they also can feel very detached or estranged from their loved ones or just people that they were typically very close to. People with PTSD also tend to avoid many situations or people that can remind them of their particular traumatic event. It can be something as small as a loud noise or even sort of like an accidental touch that can be very triggering to them. Exposure definitely includes directly the experience of the event, witnessing the traumatic event. So that's something also that I want to make sure that we stress. Even if it didn't necessarily happen to you, but if you were able to witness it, you can definitely still feel the symptoms of it.
Great. Thank you for identifying some of those symptoms. So how do professionals such as yourself, how do you diagnose PTSD?
Well, absolutely. So there's a ways of assessments that you would have to go through. But as far as people that you have to understand that, again, not everybody experiences the trauma differently. And so when we talk about treatment and how best to support someone, that is definitely going to vary. So depending upon the severity of it, we definitely will offer fundamental support, right? So really tapping into your support system, whether that is family, friends, clergy members, to really make sure that you are being able to create an environment of health and support for yourself. But beyond that, a lot of people typically will need therapy. There's lots of different types of therapies that can be very effective with trauma, cognitive behavior therapy, as well as EMDR, are just a few. Other things that can possibly help could be potentially medication. Again, sometimes having support, having counseling, having group is not necessarily enough depending upon the level of trauma. So you may also need to visit with a medical professional such as a psychiatrist to possibly look into getting some prescription medications to help you mitigate your symptoms of PTSD.
Well, and you kind of spoke a little bit about this already, but more about treatment for PTSD. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So as far as the main piece, I would suggest would definitely be going to speak to a mental health professional, right? So definitely tapping into some of those counseling and therapy resources. As I mentioned, there's different types of therapies that are catered specifically towards treatment of trauma. Definitely we want to find a therapist that specializes in it. Also, group therapy can be very supportive as well. Thing about being able to talk and to commune with other people who may have similar experiences that may really be able to help support you versus trying to work it out individually. So we definitely recommend looking into all of those options. It can also vary depending upon if you are more comfortable doing face-to-face. Some people's symptoms can be still very severe, so they may be a little bit more comfortable doing virtual therapy. But if your symptoms are inhibiting you from living your day-to-day life to where you can't your day-to-day, your daily functioning, you're going to work, you're going to school, then that's definitely the sign to where it's time to go and get support. And as soon as you are able to, get formally diagnosed, you definitely want to start to try to tap into your support systems and the group. Another thing that I want to mention is that it may be a process, right? Some people think like, oh, okay, well, I can, go talk to somebody a few times and I'll start to feel better. That's not always the case, especially with PTSD. So I would definitely say be prepared, for a long haul. You may have good days, you may have bad days, so it'll definitely fluctuate. But if you find a good support system, you find a good therapist, if you do need the medication, typically between all three of those things, it can definitely help you mitigate it, if not eliminate it at all.
Thank you. I'll share a little bit about my story. It took me a long time. Well, first to even realize I had it, and because I stopped walking, I would do my walks every day. And then after the dog bite, which was in my neighborhood, I kind of stopped walking. And then one day I was like, I think I need to talk to somebody about this because I don't feel comfortable doing what I normally do. So yeah, it was a process, but thankfully I did get through it. So on that end, could you talk a little bit more as we kind of close this out about it affecting people? And you kind of touched on it, but just to reiterate how it affects just normal people. Just it doesn't have to be a serviceman or a woman or, something like that. Because I think a lot of times when I said I have PTSD, people are like, how do you have PTSD?
Absolutely. So again, it can come from any number of things. Like you shared your experience with you getting the dog bite. I know after Harvey, I feel like I had it for a while. Like every time it would rain, like I would get very anxious and jittery. So those things can be very normal. So it does not have to be anything that society may consider to be very extreme. It is a very individualized experience. But anything that you were not prepared for, anything that you feel like may have altered you, fundamentally on some sort of level, can be traumatic. And again, not just even if you experienced it directly, maybe a loved one experienced it and you were right next to it and physically you were fine, but you viewed it, right? Even that can take a toll on you. So, it's definitely different for everybody, but you have to be able to watch yourself. Again, if your day is changing, if you're avoiding things that you normally would do on a regular basis and you can't figure out why, if all of a sudden, you're starting to have physical symptoms, such as maybe like a racing heartbeat, if you're starting to have higher anxiety, if you cannot sleep, all of these things that all of a sudden are just starting to happen after that particular incident, you could definitely potentially be traumatized. And again, there's different levels to it. But either way, if you notice a change in yourself, you definitely want to try to go and seek help immediately, because the longer it sort of festers and you just sort of ignore it, the greater the propensity it is for it to develop into something a little bit more serious. And we definitely don't want that.
Definitely not. Thank you, Morgan. That was very, very informational. I hope that people will be able to use that to help them. Again, Morgan Tuck, who is a HCC Northwest counselor and our Mental Health Monday guest. We'll have her information in a post after the show. Thank you, Morgan. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, turning it over to Professor Cox.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate it. That was a great segment. Well, so welcome back to the show, Dr. Yoojin Lee, the I understand piano instruction of the Visual Performing Arts Center of Excellence. And Dr. Lee, you're our Music Monday guest. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me back.
So every year, HCC celebrates our students' achievements in a classical music fall honors recital. Let's talk about that. Can you just give us some basic details about when and where?
Sure. This year, it's going to be held on December 7th. It's a Thursday at 7:30 in the Central Campus Heinen Theater. It's a very beautiful historic theater. And the honors recital is the best of the best students that are selected from HCC among music majors to be participating in it. So it's a great honor.
Oh, that does sound really like an accomplishment for those students. So tell us a little bit about the honors recital. What would people who go to watch in the theater, what would they see?
So our HCC music department has all instruments and all voices. And these are students that are preparing for transfer or preparing to graduate. And so what we do is we have them submit, and this happened after COVID, we have them submit a video of their performances, and a panel of judges would decide again, creme de la creme. This year, 11 students are participating. So we will see a wide range from piano, solos, vocal solos, instrumental solos such as a flute, saxophone, a French horn, a guitar, classical guitar, etc. It's going to be a wonderful time to celebrate.
Well, it's great to hear that some of those COVID adaptations have remained a little bit useful as a way to continue, having these video submissions or auditions. My son is in high school, but he spent a year and a half doing music and virtually, right? UIL contests, rehearsals, performances, right? I remember that 9th and 10th grade year where a lot of it was virtual. So one question that we wanted to ask was, when you make a decision about who gets to perform in the fall honors recital, how do you decide? How do you decide which students are going to be on stage?
So there's a due date and a deadline for the students to submit, and it's pieces that they've been working on this semester. We have a panel of full-time music faculty members that vote, and there's a vote for honors recital, and then there's a vote for student recital, which is for prospective students that are getting there, and then there's actually a vote for non-participation. And this year, there's no non-participation. Everybody has met the threshold, prepared, memorized, presenting it in a manner, even in the video, they dressed absolutely great attire, great attitude, just ready to go. And because that's how it works in the real world. So we're preparing them. Even video submissions are so important because a lot of the preliminary auditions out in the world for any entertainment or music environment, it starts with a video recording, and then we go into the next round. So they have to be very presentable. It's like a few minutes of showing their very best. And so that's how we decided. It's so fun to watch and judge and grade their videos as they submit. It's really a fun thing.
No, that sounds like a really rewarding opportunity for instructors and faculty to see the culmination of all of these students' hard work. So one of the questions that we were thinking about was, what does participation in the recital do for students beyond just practicing their music? Like, what do students benefit from here doing these recitals?
I think this is something that I just thought of yesterday. I got news from two students that they just got accepted into University of St. Thomas here in town. And that is one of the results of preparing for honors recital, because it's not only what we show at the end, but it's the everyday practice getting there. And so, yes, it directly links to prepare them to actually up their levels in performance. So these students that made, and these are both piano students that, from my own studio, but it's the honors recital preparation that shows the rigor and the practices that they have every day, that leads up to a great audition like this Saturday it happened, and they both got accepted, and I'm just so happy. Another thing we do is during the honors recital, students get to record their own performances as a preliminary video as well, because these preliminary videos for transfers or for other auditions, possibly going into other studios, has to be in a professional setting, and some require a stage setting. And so we have a wonderful, beautiful stages at Stafford, at Spring Branch campus, a Central campus, and the A-Leaf campus. I mean, we have it everywhere. So it's a great opportunity for students to use that stage setting, of course, in front of the audience, having their best moment, because when they are nervous, the best part of them come out as well. So there's a lot of benefits, this just to name a few.
Yeah, I always tell my students that if they're nervous, that just means they really care about doing well, right? That this is important to them and they want to get it right. So I wanted to ask if this recital could be a launch pad for college transfers, and you've already indicated, of course, a couple of those student successes going to St. Thomas, and I imagine a lot of our students transfer locally to other Houston universities. How often does performance at an honors recital like this really improve those transfer admission opportunities?
So far, every year after an honors recital, we see a transfer, because the rigor, again, in the music, in music education, it's very demanding. I mean, I tell my students all the time, look at the YouTube clips, millions of performers out there, and what are we going to do to bring, show ourselves, to brand ourselves, kind of, to have them want us, and the best we can offer here at HCC is the honors recital. And among the students, the honors recital is absolutely competitive. Everybody so wants to participate in that one. So they really, there's competition going on, and you see a lot of it going on, which music, in the nature, we have competition in our nature. So it just really disciplines our students to be at their very best. And it happens twice a year, fall and in the spring. And after that, we do see a lot of transfers, and we are so happy to see those eagles fly off our nest.
Well, now I understand that our other programs like drama and dance, they have performing art productions throughout the semester as well. And I know that you teach piano, but there are other choral and other instruments. Is this event, this recital, all piano, or will it be people doing other things as well?
This event is mostly solos of piano, vocal, and instrumental. It really serves as an individual's solo abilities. But throughout the year, we have a big band. HCC has a big band, jazz band. We have performances with that, and then there's a choral performance twice a semester. We have instrumental ensemble, classical instrumental ensembles, and yes, dance, drama. I believe they're doing a play down at Stafford campus as we speak. Like this whole week, they're having a show there. Our stage managers, and when we scheduled all these events in the beginning of the year, we have something going on almost every week. There's art exhibitions everywhere on all the campuses, and so it's just a great place for students to train and to go. It's just beautiful to see that in the honors recital, being the best of the best.
Well, Dr. Lee, at the end of the show, we'll post all the information we have about events as the semester kind of comes to a close this last 3 or 4 weeks. But if students are out there and they haven't even begun to participate in music, drama, or dance, what should they do? Are there some classes they can start in January?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. So many students don't know that we exist. And we are trying to voice ourselves out there. We regularly meet with the counselors and tell them that we are here. And I personally have many director friends, like band director, choir director, orchestral director friends out in the high schools in many districts. And we send out letters that we're here. We have classes. I mean, you see right here, this is a Katy Campus Piano Lab. This is where I instruct group piano, and the students can come not knowing a single note. We start from not knowing anything. And after taking a semester, and then they go on to piano level 2, 3, and 4, and on and on. We have that for voice class, guitar class. Anyone can join the choir. We have so much going on, and it is a wonderful program that we have in all these campuses, so they can choose a location that is closer to them as well.
No, that's wonderful. And I'll just say, it was before COVID. I really should get back to it. But before COVID, every now and then I would take a guitar class down at Stafford just for fun, just a little 1-hour music credit class, go in once a week and play a little guitar. But thank you so much, Dr. Lee. We appreciate your time. Have a great week, and we'll have more information in our notes after the show.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.
All right. I think we are up for our announcements, Dr. Cox.
That's right. We've got a lot going on here. First,
yes.
There is a Gulf Coast Apprenticeship Summit this week. The big event has finally arrived. HCC is going to host the 2023 Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Summit at the West Houston Institute. It's said to be where exceptional talent and business growth converge. That is November 13th through 15th at the WHI. Check our post after the show for more information.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to be participating in that on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to it. Next, we have the Caucasian Chalk Circle, which is being presented by the Northwest Drama Production. This play is about a woman caring for a forgotten child as her own, and it's a story about a selfless kindness. It's a story of selfless kindness in a chaotic world that still resonates today. The production is also a great chance to experience one of the most influential plays of the 20th century. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, November 15th through the 18th. It's at the HCC Spring Branch Black Box Theater, and most importantly, it is free. Reservations are encouraged, however, so check our post after the show for more information.
And we have a little bit more for Music Monday. The HCC Big Band Concert is Monday, December 4th at 7:30 p.m. This is the award-winning Monday Night Big Band, and they will play classic arrangements from the big band era during a special performance directed by HCC faculty member Woody Witt. Again, that's Monday, December 4th, 7:30 p.m., and this one is at the HCC Northwest Performing Arts Center. Check our post after the show for more information.
And of course, I'm super excited to announce our Through the Kaleidoscope Fall Faculty Fashion Show. Keyword, it's normally students. This time it's our faculty who will be presenting their fashions. And we are celebrating, the HCC Fashion Department is celebrating 40 years with this fashion show. And all collections, again, are going to be designed by our faculty. It's going to be Friday, December the 8th at 7:30 p.m. and it's at the HCC Central Harmon building. And ticket costs are $25. But I also like to remind people that amount goes back into the program to support our students and scholarships. So we hope to see you.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I really do hope that it raises a lot of funds for our students.
Yes.
So as the semester comes to a close, everybody keep in mind that tutoring can help. HCC's Academic Success Center is available to help students stay on track with their coursework, understand assignments, and improve their study skills. Check our post after the show for more information about academic success.
Yes, and spring registration is open. I can't believe it. We're already talking about spring, but it's open. It's we've got a lot of variations of classes that you can take. We've got, of course, online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid classes, my favorite in-person classes, hybrid lab classes. So a variety of classes for anybody, any walk of life. We would love to have you as a student at HCC. So to learn more about the program, start dates and options to cover costs, you can go to hccs.edu/apply. And coming up in celebration of National Native American Heritage Month, we'll welcome the Preserve, THPRSRV, from Kima, which features culinary items from the Choctaw roots of its chef. And later for Thursday Family Fun, the Smithsonian Institute will return with the rep from its National Museum of the American Indian to talk about its special exhibitions. Dr. Cox, it's always great to be on the show with you.
Thank you again. I appreciate it. You guys have a great week, and I'll tune in and look at some of these programs that we have ahead of us.
Great. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.